Hi. Today, on a very special Salty Flyer, we're going to talk about a topic that we don't normally discuss on the channel. Hi, welcome back. Salty here. Thanks for coming by. Do the liking, the sharing, the subscribing, all that good stuff. So as I deal with bikers, I have come to the opinion, and I'm included in this, that most bikers are a big fan of the Bill of Rights, specifically the First and the Second Amendments, shall we say, to the Constitution. And I have found that there is as many opinions about the Second Amendment and how you implement that as there are people walking the earth. So I thought I'd give you my 2 cents. However, we're going to try to avoid using certain words because YouTube don't like that topic. They're big, not big fans. They get big mad about that topic. So we're gonna try to avoid some words, but I think you'll get the gist of what I'm talking about. So you may hear me refer to things as a self-defensive tool. Do the math on that one. It's a word that rhymes with pun. Cool. So a lot of guys have them, and a lot of guys like to carry them, and a lot of guys who ride motorcycles have differing opinions on how to do that. So I figured I would cover down on my opinions on some things, expose some people some stuff, especially if you're a new rider, and either new to rider and you've just purchased, either a rider who's just purchased a self-defensive tool, or you're a self-defense aficionado who's just gotten into riding. I think there's things to think about, and then I'll kind of finish up with what I do, and we'll go from there. So there are 2 basic schools of thought that all of the tubers, and I'm not one of the tubers that does that, so please don't flame me in the comments. I'm not an expert. I'm just going by what I do and my experience, so your mileage will vary. However, there are 2 major schools of thought. The first of which, there's you carry this on your body or off your body. Makes sense. It's kind of the only 2 situations it could possibly be. So on body carry typically means I'm carrying it most commonly in a concealed environment is inside the waistband or inside the waistband appendix. I mean, you could also go like Serpico and have a shoulder rig, which I think is kind of cool. We had those, fun fact, we actually had those in Iraq. I thought that was kind of neat. Anyway. So that is how most people, myself included, carry walking around town. If I'm driving in the truck and I'm going out to do my business and I'm just doing my thing, that's how I typically carry. I do not carry appendix because, one, I've got some tactical body armor here, you know what I'm saying? You hear me? And also, if you carry a defensive tool that is of the Austrian variety that doesn't have a thumb safety, I'm just not wild about the idea of the business end of that pointed directly at my junk. Plenty of people do it, and good on you if you do. I will say that looks like it would be murderously uncomfortable when you drive, and even more uncomfortable when you ride, but you do you. So what are the upsides to that on a bike? Well, the biggest upside is it's there. You're not gonna forget it, you don't have to worry about it, it's just there. No muss, no fuss. The downsides are, 1, it's probably uncomfortable. And then depending on your personal equipment thing and state rules, your printing, showing may be a thing that you have to be concerned with. Another one that people are gonna put out there that I don't know that I 100% agree with, but I'll discuss it because it's been talked about by other people, which is, should you get off the bike unexpectedly, i.e. crash, 1, having a brick of metal somewhere strapped to your person may cause more injury than if you didn't have it there. And 2, it would be, because you might lose it, which is or isn't as big a deal, but understand that in certain states like the one I live in, that they can be pretty punitive about that kind of thing. They're looking for an excuse. So you having to tell the cop, in addition to my broken arm, my broken leg, as I'm getting loaded into the ambulance, could you look around because my XYZ piece is possibly laying in a ditch somewhere and I need you to help me find it so some scale doesn't take it. So yeah, there's that. Then there's off the body. So off the body opens up a whole other world. So in the case of the 24 Street Glide, specifically Street Glide, 24 and above Street Glide, CVOs, etc., you have that sweet drawer that slides out that you can keep your phone in, you can keep your wallet in. I keep a garage door opener in there, all that good stuff. Depending upon the girth of your self-defensive tool, that might actually be fine to keep it there, with a caveat. And that caveat is, there ain't no way to lock that thing. So you're not leaving it. I would very, very strongly recommend you're not leaving the bike with that. I mean, yes, probably no one's going to do anything, but all I got to do is push a button and, oh crap, look at that. You know what I mean? So, but if you're just going from point A to point B, that's not a bad option. If you don't have a bag, or if you don't have a Street Glide, modern Street Glide specifically, There's many other number of options. You could wear a backpack. If you've got a compartment on lowers, backpacks are great. They make special backpacks that have compartments on it. You just throw it on your back. You're riding around with it on your back anyway, and you're all set to go. Garments. We'll talk about gun pockets in a second. Just hold that thought. Or one of the great options on any kind of bagger or any kind of retrofit is a saddlebag. It's a great place to keep it, right? Makes sense. So there's ways to do it, and I think a lot of folks would like an option where they could store it securely. You don't want it rattling around in there like Pac-Man. You want it kind of secured, and have the option to swap from your saddlebag to your person relatively easily. And there's quite a few manufacturers out there. I was just looking, just a quick Google search, and Rick Rack showed me there was one on their page that uses the saddlebag mount bolts to mount a holster in there, and then you can just go from the two and quick detach, and you're off to the races. And I think that for most people, that might be a great option. Saddlebags, especially hard saddlebags that are lockable, awesome. If you get to a place that you can't take said self-defensive tool into because of local state law, then you're all set. Lock your saddlebag and you're good. I will say one thing about off the body, specifically saddlebag, that can be problematic depending on where you live. If you want to leave the bike and you wish to take your self-defensive tool with you, which should be your circumstance 95% of the time, except if you're going into a place that such is forbidden, is how do you make that transfer? Now, if you're in the middle of nowhere, rural Texas or something, no big deal. People open carry all the time, not a problem. Around hippy-dippy Western Washington where I live, people seeing a big old bearded guy pull up on a loud Harley with a bunch of tattoos and open up a saddlebag and start fumbling around with a gun and trying to shove it into his pants might make people nervous. People get nervous, they call the local PD has to respond, you have to show your permit, it's a whole thing. So that's something to consider, especially if you're parking. Like, as much as one of the great advantages of motorcycling is sometimes you can just pull right up in front of the store because there's a little spot you can just park your bike and you don't have to worry about the parking lot. But if you're gonna do that swap, you may wanna consider parking out, kind of out in the boonies where no one can see you. You know, it's just one of those things. Likewise, if you do have it on your person and you realize you got to one of those places and you need to stash it in a saddlebag, you just got to just be delicate about it. That's all I'm saying. Just be delicate. Okay. So that leads us to kind of the last thing, which is garments. My vest has a gun pocket in it. It's just inside here, and it was on the label. I had a big tag hang off it when I bought it that says gun pocket. And I'll be honest with you. Every vest that you buy, whether it's a $500 custom-made horsehide deal or if it's a $50 one you got on Amazon or what you got at the back of a truck at a rally, they're all going to say they have a gun pocket, right? As are most coats. My full-length jacket, my leather jacket, also has a quote-unquote gun pocket. All that is it's deep enough to hold up what would be a full-frame piece, and it's got some type of either leather or elastic strap in it. That's it. Is it better than nothing? Sure. Would I recommend you carry something without a safety, fully cocked and locked and ready to rock in there? No, absolutely not. Just don't. This is the great discussion piece, and this is kind of the final thought I will leave you with here, is you got to train, but also understand that if you think you're going to be safe by, hey, I just won't chamber one, that's fine. I'll remember to rack it. I will tell you what I learned from flying airplanes for a lot of years. You could be the smartest person on earth sitting in a chair with the book in front of you thinking through your flight going, man, I got this nailed. And I don't know why this is. The split second your butt hits the seat of the airplane, you'll lose 10 IQ points, just right off the top. And then as soon as your wheel's off the deck, 10 more IQ points, gone. And then God help you if you have an emergency, 50 IQ points, out the door, and you're just operating on stem power, just fumbling around. There's studies on this, trust me on this one. So if you believe, and you've trained extensively, that you're gonna be able to, in a situation where, God forbid, hopefully we never get here, that you need to withdraw this item and use it to defend your life, that you're gonna remember to rack, and you're gonna be able to do that smoothly and efficiently and then present, good on you. I have a feeling the vast majority of people that are gonna do that are gonna end up presenting and going, why is my trigger not working? Why is it, and in a game of seconds, that might be all you got. So what's my point? Get a holster. Just do it. It's easy. You can get them cheap. Kydex is relatively cheap. I happen to have a pocket rig. There are ones that are just trigger guard covers. That might be all you need. What I don't want you to do is sitting there and trusting a small leather strap inside your pocket and having a hot trigger as you're fumbling around in your pocket, and you're there with, you know, with adrenaline coursing through you, because bad stuff could happen. That's all I'm saying. So Uncle Salty's last thoughts, and then we can move on from this this special edition of Salty Flyer, Self-Defense Edition, is couple things. Know the law. I know I have very strong opinions. I try to keep this channel not political, so I will not necessarily voice them. I have very strong opinions about the Constitution and how it is impinged in various different states, my own included, chief among them. But I would much rather be fuming about that sitting in the comfort of my living room than being morally correct in prison. And they'll get you. They've got the resources. If you're breaking those rules and you get got, you're going to get got. So just don't. What is that a big deal? Know what your rights are in whatever state you are. Motorcyclists tend to travel. We go all over the place, right? So if you're traveling, for instance, for me, I live in Washington. I can go east to my heart's content and I'll be fine. Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, all good to go. I turn south, as soon as I hit the Columbia River, it's a no-fly zone. California, Oregon, they don't honor permits. They don't want nothing to do with you. And I don't, you just don't want to mess with that. So just know your rules, know the laws. Know for a fact that you may be in a state that has open carry be completely legal, for instance. But then you get to your bike, and as soon as you put that in a saddlebag, if it's not unloaded in a locked case, you've just committed a felony. That's simple if you don't have a permit. These are things you got to know. The other thing I would say, and this is important, is how do you best spend your money? And you're talking bikers. We spend a ton of money on silliness, yeah? Do you think that the person who may have to take a life to defend their life, who has a well-battered, inexpensive Austrian firearm, shall we say, that was relatively inexpensive, but trains religiously with it, has an ammunition budget, knows what to do, does drills, dry fires, and does all that, will be better prepared? Or the person that has a $3,000 custom 2011 that never leaves the safe? Train. There's tons of resources out there. There's classes. I took one. It's actually really fun, So do that and be prepared. And the last thing Uncle Salty will leave you with is, this is sort of a mindset shift. And this is for all the people that are new to this, that are new to the carrying world. If you want to avoid trouble, well, now you really want to avoid trouble, because if you find trouble and trouble pops off and you have to do something with that shiny new defensive tool that you have somewhere on your body, that is life-changing. Do you want to die? No. But do you realize that you may spend months and months and months in court and you may empty your bank accounts defending yourself? It's better than dying, but there's a huge responsibility. You know what's easier than that? Walking the F away. Trust your instincts, read a room. If you think things are about to get weird, leave. If you see a situation that's developing, leave. We were on a run. I was joining a local group this past weekend, and they were doing their annual fundraiser poker run. And we were going to make one of the stops, and the road captain, and there was 2 packs, and the first pack road captain, who happened to be riding with the chapter president, made an assessment that there was too much of weird protest stuff going on in and around the area we were going to make our first stop, and we pressed. We didn't stop. And so that don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, lecture complete. So we talked about that. Exercise your rights. Do all the things. Be smart about it, and get there safe. So Salty, we will see you guys next time. Keep the shiny side up. Get out there and get on 2 wheels. Salty Flyer. Peace.